Hi, my name is Claire Boyard, and this is my term project. So I'm an early child education major, and I'm going to be doing a science lesson to kindergartners. I'm going to be making sure that they understand what the five senses are related to humans and animals. With this lesson plan, I'm going to be doing a nature walk, and I'm going to be going over the lesson with you for my future students, and then I'm going to be giving a summary of the lesson, I'm going to go over the whole lesson plan. I'm not just going to read it off, read it down word for word. I'm just going to give a summary of what we're doing for each little section, and then I'm going to make sure that you're understanding it, and it's going to be useful for my future students. And then, what are the five senses? The five senses are sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. Sight is with using your eyes. An example of that would be seeing colors. Sound is using your ears, which is like birds chirping. Smell is using your nose. Cookies baking in the oven is an example of that. Taste is with your mouth. An example of eating an apple. And then touch is your hand, and like leaves, if it's rough or if it's soft or scratchy, stuff like that. And then this is my lesson plan. So what I'm going to start with first is the standards that I'm going to be doing. The standard that I'm going to be doing is life science, which is LS. And then the topic that I chose was physical and behavioral traits of living things. This topic focuses on observing, exploring, describing, and comparing living things in Ohio. And then underneath that, there is two options I could pick from. And I picked the first one, which is K, which is kindergarten, LS, which is life science, and then number 1. And then living things have specific characteristics and traits. And then my objectives are students be able to know what characteristics and traits from the items that they have seen outside. And then why am I doing this lesson? I want my students to be able to tell me what their senses are from what they found outside. What will the students be able to do afterwards? Afterwards, the students will be able to tell me what they saw, what they touched, what they heard, what they tasted, and what they felt during the nature walk while they're telling me their senses that they saw outside. And then continuing, things I'm going to need for this activity would be the paper that I'm going to give them in the activity, colored pencils, markers, crayons, making sure I have my clipboards out, making sure that they have a pencil when they're going outside, stuff like that, the little things that you're going to need, but I'm not going to be able to remember. So those things I'm going to make sure that I write down if I think of it later on, because I know I will forget if I'm going to use this lesson later. And then this starts the instructional strategy part, and it's very long. So I'm only going to give a quick summary of what I'm going to do for my activity, and I'm not going to I'm just going to scroll through it and then hopefully get in the gist of what I'm talking about and what I'm doing for my activity, because this is really long and I don't think you want to listen to the whole thing. So what I'm going to start doing in the beginning of the lesson, I'm going to make sure that the students are understanding of what all the senses are, all the five senses are. And then after that, I'm going to talk about how humans and animals are related to each other and how both of those things have the same five senses. And then I'm going to say we're going to do a nature walk, and then I'm going to give them the paper that we're going to be using while you're outside. And then so then I'm going to start talking about, then we're going to be going outside. So then I'm going to make sure everything we get ready, we're going to go outside, and then I'm going to talk to my students when we get out there about each of the five senses. So we're going to start with just one scent, whatever the top one is, or whatever we're going to start with that we see first in our nature walk, and we're just going to go around around where I'm going to take them, and then they're going to draw, and they're going to write. Draw and color what they saw through the nature walk, where they have an understanding of like, okay, animals and humans are related with these five senses. So, for example, I was gonna do sight, which is the first sense, I'm going to be talking about eyes. So, for that, I'm going to be starting off with animals. So, animals that you see with sight are eyes. So, a hummingbird is something that you see with your eyes, and it is a bird. And hummingbirds use their eyes to find flowers where they eat the nectar out of oh my goodness, eat out of red flowers. They have to use their eyes to find red flowers to eat that nectar. And then that's for animals. So then I'm going to talk about for humans what that could be an example of. So an example of sight would be using colors. So like, let's see, colors. So for like colors, I'm going to talk about something with like you're seeing like colors of like trees or colors of like leaves, stuff like that. So like winter, it's you don't have any leaves because it's just like the leaves aren't even out yet; they're all gone. And then for fall, they're like red, yellow, oranges, stuff like that. And then for like summer, they're green, they're bright, they're out. You can see all of them, stuff like that. And then I'm going to go through each one of the five senses, and I'm going to be talking about ones for animals, and I'm going to be talking about ones for humans. So things like that. And I'm not going to list all of them. You can read it individually later, but I just want to make sure that you know, like, all the five senses are talked about with animals and humans and how they're related to anything that's from outside and how it relates to environmental biology and how this class relates to the lesson, stuff like that. And then for differentiation, I did one for above, two for above and then two for below, where they have like different, if I have different students in my class. So I'm going to write the five senses, and then with the definition, they're going to give me an example. And then for the second one, they're going to give me a definition example as well. And I want to make sure that they know it and like say it out loud. And then for below, matching the definitions in the set, and then coming up with examples with the teacher to understand the activity. And then for the assessment, I'm going to scroll down. And then this is going to be the worksheet that they're going to give them, where that they can color and draw what they see outside. And then this is the assessment that they're going to get. This is like matching it together. It's super simple. It's super easy. I don't want it to be anything long. It's just matching ice cream and taste and sunset with see, flowers with smell, and a blanket with feel. So and then music with hear. It's not very long at all. It's not very complicated. I wanted to make sure it was really simple and really kind of put together. But thank you. Hope you enjoy.